Welcome, I'm Kelly Langridge, Partnerships Manager for the World Agritech Innovation Summit. Ahead of the conference in San Francisco on March 22nd, 23rd, we're bringing you a series of bite-sized interviews with key individuals from across the ag industry. Today, I'm joined by Jenette Ashtekar, VP of Product Management at CIBO Technologies.
Hi, great to meet you.
Thanks for joining us today, Jenette. So let's recap on 2021 for a moment, as you joined one of our virtual panel discussions last year's event and addressed the barriers to technology adoption, which included economic costs and risk to the growers, obstacles at scale and cost of carbon credits, as well as the uncertainty of value, saying that at the time it was more hype than reality. 1 year on, I think people are really eager to know what's changed and what hasn't.
Yeah, I think that's a phenomenal question. And I could say that though there's still a lot of hype associated with carbon markets, I think it's really evolving. We're evolving beyond the hype into the realm of the tangible and the real. And over the past year, we've seen organizations throughout the ag ecosystem and growers really push the adoption of new regenerative practices and implement small scale programs to be able to quantify the impact of that new practice adoption, verify that the practice adoption took place. And now we're actually moving into the realm of measuring the impact on the ground in the soil of those practices. And so though we don't have, a robust supply of carbon credits available through registries today, we are moving into the world where that is going to happen, and it's going to happen sooner rather than later. So it's very exciting. I think additionally, what we're seeing is an evolution from this idea of soil as an amazing source of carbon offsets. We're now expanding that into the realm of things like carbon insets, premium pricing for sustainable grain, and pay per acre incentives programs to adopt new practices. So the whole scope of ag carbon is expanding and evolving, and I do think it's beginning to live up to the hype.
Yeah, fantastic. I think we see that as well. It's really feeling like carbon 2.0 this year, whereas last year it was a bit sort of scattered effect, but now we're really seeing a more cohesive program coming through and really joining those dots up. And what about CIBO? You used to run carbon programs, but have since evolved to create them for other companies like ADM and Cargill. Tell us a bit more about why that is.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will say we still run our own carbon program. So what we do at CIBO is use our technology platform to quantify the impact of what's happening on the ground. What is the carbon footprint of farming, and how does that carbon footprint change if we were to change management practices? We're also able to verify the practices that take place using remote sensing and other means, and then deploy resources to the ground to measure and confirm that carbon increases are taking place. And so we use our own technology today to run our own programs. Some of these programs include things like generating carbon credits through Verra, a major carbon credit registry, or certifying that a grower has completed 3 to 4 years of regenerative practices. So we do these programs internally to test them out and make sure the technology works. And then we work with partners to actually scale them. So it's not just about CIBO and CIBO making carbon credits and carbon offset. It's about CIBO's technology platform enabling the entire agricultural ecosystem to run their own carbon incentives programs. And this is critical because in order to scale the adoption of regenerative practices, these amazing agricultural practices that are going to help us endure the coming climate crisis, we need to stack incentives. So a carbon offset credit might not be enough to get the grower over the hump of new practice transition. We want to bring growers access to as many different types of incentives programs as possible. And to do that, we need to bring them access to as many different sponsors, as many different enterprises, companies offering programs as possible. And that's where CIBO sits. It's using our scaled technology to enable growers to access a wide variety of carbon incentives programs across the ag ecosystem. And additionally, using this transparent technology platform to maintain integrity across different programs. So if CIBO is working with multiple partners to create sustainability programs, we're able to keep track of each individual piece of land and understand what programs it's enrolled in, so we don't run into issues like double counting.
Oh, I love that. It's fantastic that there's actually a dedicated place and company that people can go to for this kind of information. And more so, just that support for the farmers and the access to adoption there for them as well. And you mentioned a little bit there about your tech stack. What does your sustainability tech stack look like for carbon, and how is that going to evolve from where it started?
Yeah, great question. So our technology stack is really focused on three main components. So we have a very robust ecosystem modeling and simulation, and this is where our carbon modeling sits. So we're able to quantify the dynamics of carbon within the soil. Is carbon increasing in the soil under certain weather management strategies? Is carbon being lost from the soil? Are greenhouse gas emissions increasing or decreasing, et cetera? So modeling component.
Mm-hmm.
The second component of our tech stack is our remote sensing and computer vision platform. So this is where we're able to use satellite imagery and incredibly advanced AI to determine what practices are occurring on the ground. So we use the models to quantify the impact. What's the carbon footprint happening on a farm? We then use the computer vision to verify the practices. Okay, we can see with the satellite imagery that you did the cover crop this year. That's something that enables scale. Finally, the third component is our just scaled software infrastructure, our cloud-based platform. And so everything runs incredibly efficiently. We're able to run the calculations very quickly from the farm field level and scale that all the way up to the global level if we like. And then the way we're really applying this technology platform in the carbon space is for something that we call measurement, verification, and reporting. So our technology platform for any partners in the ag ecosystem looking to run carbon programs or understand the impact of farming, first we're able to use the scalable technology and models to measure the impact. What is the carbon footprint of a farm? We're able to use the remote sensing to verify that these practices took place. We also use our platform to understand the best place to go out and take a soil sample so that we can verify on the ground with a real world sample. And then there's the reporting aspect. So within our platform, we're able to sum up different metrics associated with greenhouse gas reductions, abatements, removals across a supply chain, a supply shed, or an entire region. And then how is the technology going to evolve? So what we are very focused on at CIBO is the science, scaling the science, making the science as best as it could be, but also pragmatic so that we can actually go out and accomplish things as opposed to just sit around and focus on the science all day. And so our platform evolves as the ecosystem, as the carbon markets evolve. We're able to adapt the way that we quantify a carbon baseline based on the different type of emission reduction program. So a Vera carbon offset and science-based target initiatives might have different mechanisms of reporting or different baselines used for quantification. And our platform is able to be flexible and meet the needs of different types of programs. And as the market expands and evolves, we are committed to expanding and evolving with it. So we're not just focused on the solutions that are important today. We're trying to get ahead of it so that 5 years from now, we have a technology platform that serves the needs of that time period.
That's amazing. You've really thought of everything. And I suppose I should mention now, what that next step is, because congratulations on your recent Series C fundraise. Where is this money going to go towards? What's the next step for CIBO?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been a really exciting past couple of years, really focusing on carbon markets. And for us, in our Series C raise, it's really about being able to scale and accelerate. Today, we're focused primarily on row crops like corn and soy in the Midwestern United States, things like cover cropping as a regenerative practice and no and low till. We plan to expand into new practices. There's a lot more to regenerative agriculture than just a cover crop. We want to expand into new practices. We'd like to expand into new crops. So next up from CIBO down the road, we're going to be working in things like cotton and wheat, expansion into more types of cover crops, more practices, and then more geographies. So the United States is really just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to regenerative practices. And the way they're implemented and what it means to be regenerative is different all around the world. And so at CIBO, we are really committed to scaling around the globe with our partners and bringing solutions that meet the need of growers where they are at their time and their place in the world.
Oh, we're excited to be on that journey with you as well. Jenette, thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you at World Agritech next month and hearing more about the exciting programs to come.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.